Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Why Is It Banned, where we discuss the Forbidden and Limited list and look at each card and why it's on the list, and also if we think it should still be on the list. Now, I found this new website where you can just click on the cards, and it's a lot easier than having to open individual links and Google everything. So we're gonna go on this. We're gonna go on this list from now on. And we'll start with some of the extra deck cards because they kind of just list those a bit differently, but it's really not that different. So, here we have Broniac, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. For some reason the sample isn't very good, but it says it's one tuner and one or more non-tuners. It's 6 stars, 2300, 1400. You can discard any number of cards to the graveyard to target the same number of cards on the field. Return those targets to the hand. This card is pretty powerful. You can see why. I mean, level 6, like, all it requires like a level 2 tuner and a 4, a level 1 tuner and a 5. So that's pretty easy to get off. And then on top of that, the effect is pretty powerful. I mean, just being able to return basically you can return your opponent. So you play this thing, you have 4 cards in your hand, you're playing something like, where you get a lot of cards. Just discard whatever you can, and you're basically getting even trades for your opponent's cards. It also makes OTKs a lot easier. Now, do I think this card should be unbanned? Maybe. I don't know. It's a tough call. I mean, I would wait a little bit. It's pretty good, but the fact that you're having to discard to do it the same amount of cards makes it kind of better, but it doesn't target either, so it's a little too powerful in my opinion. Okay, so we got Broniac, and then now we have, and these are all the band, right? Okay, it's the right order. So next we went through all these last time. Next we have El Shaddoll Construct. Now the Shaddoll cards were pretty powerful cards. I wasn't super active during the time. I did some Necros. I know Shaddoll was big around the time of Necros, but let's go into it. So it has to be fusion summons. It's a Shaddoll monster and a light monster. If it's special summoned, you can send one Shaddoll card from your deck to the graveyard. At the start of the damage deck, if this battles a special summon monster, destroy the monster. If it's sent to the graveyard, you can target one Shaddoll spell and trap card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Now, none of these effects in particular are broken, but I can understand that because it's essentially 3 really good effects in one that, well, 2 really good effects and then one, retrieval effect, that why it might be too powerful. Also, at the time, Shaddoll was kind of like king of the meta, or, a very top tier deck, so that was probably their solution to take care of it. Alright, next up we have on the list of missed extra deck cards, we have Evil Swarm Exciton Knights. Now, for this card, once per chain, during your main phase or your opponent's battle phase, if your opponent has more total cards in their hand and their side of the field than you do, you can detach an XYZ material to destroy all other cards on the field. Also, your opponent takes no further damage this turn. This card cannot come back. This card, it would take years, way longer for this card to ever come back. When I saw this card in play, which was only a few years ago, I thought to myself, this is incredibly broken. So basically, being a 2 level 4 monster means that it's already the easiest XYZ to get basically in the game, which are even, like the level 4 XYZ monsters are all very powerful, but this one is just next level. I mean, once per chain, even if it was once per turn, it would still be disgusting. But once per chain, so if you play it and your opponent does something to try and stop it, then you can just chain the effect again. Or no, it's once per chain, so you can't chain the effect again. But still, you can do it like if your opponent stops you and then doesn't destroy him, you can just do it again, like instantly. Like, you don't have to wait a turn, you don't have to do anything. You can do it during your turn and then do it during your opponent's turn or whatever. It's just really disgusting. I mean, and then destroying all other cards in the field, just like that, like just by detach XYZ, the field's gone. Just super broken. Super duper broken. So I can 100% understand why this card was taken out. Alright, so now I think we ended at Stratos last time, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yeah. So now we're on Fiber Jar. Okay. So Fiber Jar. It's a flip effect. Like I said, flip effects aren't very common with these monsters, but there were a few, especially when the game started. I remember pulling this from a pack, actually, when I was like a little kid. Each player shovels all cards from their hand, field, and graveyard into the deck, then draws 5 cards. Now, personally, I don't think the effect is super... Like, it's pretty broken, yeah. It's pretty broken. But at the same time, like, I feel like it was more like judges being like, okay, you played half your duel, and now you're going to reset the whole duel with Fiber Jar. It's still too broken. It's still ridiculous. I mean, let's say you're just wasting cards, right? And you're trading with your opponent's card. Your opponent has a bunch of cards. You screwed up. You have Fiber Jar. You don't care, okay? Because your opponent could have, 6 cards in hand. They can have, 7 cards on the field. All of that goes back for just 5 cards. And on top of that, you could have no cards, and you get 5 cards. So you're essentially evening the balance. Basically everything that happened before Fiber Jar doesn't really matter, except life point wise. And shuffling it into the deck, this card was made basically before Extra Deck was even a thing. Now that Extra Deck is a thing, I'd say it's even more powerful because if your opponent has 3 XYZs, you Fiber Jar, they're all gone. So Fiber Jar is way too broken, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory why it's on the list. It would just be super unhealthy. That card can never come back. Fishborg Blaster. If you control a face-up level 3 or lower water monster, you can discard 1 card, special summon this card from the graveyard. This card is used as a synchro material monster. All other synchro material monsters must be water. Okay. So, I imagine a big reason why this was banned is because it doesn't have a once per turn effect. It's a tuner, a level 1 tuner that can just keep coming back. And also, can you imagine this thing with how much better fish and frogs have gotten? I mean, it's way too powerful. I mean, you can just synchro. Okay, let's say you have 5 cards in your hand. You have a few monsters, right? So you just discard the card, you get the Fishborg back, you make a synchro, you discard a card, you get the Fishborg back, you make a synchro, you discard a card, and then if you're doing stuff like, Librarian, TGI, or whatever, TGI Friday, Hyper Librarian or whatever, and you're drawing cards and the Coral thing and all that crap, they'll let you draw cards when you summon them, you can just discard them to keep getting back Fishborg Blaster. It's a card that, if anything, has gotten more powerful than when it was banned. It's not coming back anytime soon. I think if it were once per turn, though, maybe it could survive. Alright, and now we have another extra deck card. We have Lavalo Chain. Now, this one hurts because this was banned fairly recently and is, next to Stratos, probably the most requested card to return. It's a 2 level 4 monster, and like I explained, 2 level 4s is always powerful. So once per turn, you can attach 1 material from the card to activate one of these effects. You can send a card from your deck to the graveyard, or you can choose a monster from your deck and place it on top of your deck. Now, the second effect is pretty good, but most people want that first effect. I mean, just being able to send whatever you want to the graveyard is crazy, and it's a card. So it doesn't have to be like a monster. It could be a spell or trap. And knowing how many things activate in the graveyard nowadays, Lavalo Chain is just very, very powerful. I think maybe it could return, but it's always going to be one of the best rank 4 monsters ever. It's crazy. So let's see how many have we done so far. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we have. Did we do 8? I think we did 8 last time. Okay. Anyways, we have Magical Scientist here, which is pay 1,000 life points to special summon 1 level 6 or lower fusion monster from your extra deck in face-up attack or defense position. That fusion monster cannot attack your opponent's life directly and is returned to your extra deck at the end of the turn. Okay. So, this is interesting because it's really not that much better than Instant Fusion, I guess. I mean... Oh, I know why. I know, because it's not once per turn. So many of these cards, the issue can be fixed by not adding the once per turn. I mean, look at this card. All you have to do is just pay 3,000. You get 3 different fusion monsters. You win the game, basically, with this card. Magical Scientist is incredibly powerful. It has only gotten more powerful. Because, okay, let's say you just play it. Let's say you play him, right? Your opponent does this stuff, okay? You just need this card. You summon this card. You pay 4,000 life points, okay? You get 4 level 6s. Those 4 level 6s do whatever they're going to do. Then you overlay to get 2 rank 6 XYZs, okay? Off 1 card. Like, even with the 4,000 life point cost, it's disgusting. It's insane. Well, you're not getting 4. Sorry, you're getting 2 XYZ monsters. 2 rank 6s. It's still crazy. It's still too much value for a single card, regardless of life point cost. So this is another one of those cards that has only gotten more powerful with time. When it came out, it probably wasn't super duper powerful. It could do a few things, interesting things. But now it's just way too intense. Magical Scientist could not be coming back anytime soon. Now I think we got one more card, if I'm not mistaken. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, this is the last card we're gonna do today. And I remember this card. I remember this card when it was banned because I didn't really understand why it was banned. And I kind of get it more now. But during the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can activate trap cards from your hands. Okay. I don't know if I'm just remembering this wrong. I thought it was just like Jinzo, where you could just activate it while it was on the field. I don't know if they errated this card or my memory's just bad. My memory's probably just bad. But anyways, so it's super easy to send cards to the graveyard. All you have to do is just attack, and then you can just do so many trap cards from your hands, which is pretty crazy. Especially if you're doing like counter trap cards, and you know, yeah, I couldn't see this card coming back. It basically turns all your trap cards into spell cards. I mean, it's too powerful. There's a lot of really powerful trap cards out there, and just being able to use it. Imagine Ring of Destruction right there. Well, Ring of Destruction doesn't matter anymore. But I'm saying like a card, like back in the day, that I'm sure Ring of Destruction with this card was an issue. But nowadays, you know, Solemn Strikes. There's so many things. I could just play this card, Call the Haunted, right there. It's like I have a freaking Monster Reborn almost, or the other one. I forgot what the other one was called. But anyways, so those were the 8 cards for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, went a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I look forward to seeing you guys next week.